All right, today we're going to do something cool. We're going to step right into Proverbs chapter 8 and watch it play out like a movie. And the goal here? To make every single verse stick, Impossible to forget. We're about to meet the hero of this story, a character named Wisdom. And I mean, wisdom literally personified. So let's jump right in and see her call, her character, and this incredible cosmic story she's got to tell, one verse at a time.
Okay, so our story kicks off in this bustling, ancient city. You can almost feel it, right? The air is thick with market noise, crowds chattering. But then, a new sound is about to just slice right through all that noise. And this isn't some quiet whisper. Nope, this is like a citywide broadcast. Let's check it out. So the movie starts. Verse 1. The first thing we hear is this question ringing out, "Does not wisdom cry out?" It's totally rhetorical, right? Just imagine this powerful sound wave that silences the entire city. She's making sure everyone knows she's arrived. Okay, verse 2. Now we actually get to see her. For this verse, picture Wisdom standing on the absolute highest hill overlooking the city, right where the main roads cross. She's picked the most visible spot imaginable, like a giant living billboard against the sky. Her arms are out wide. You can't miss her. She wants to be seen. Then, verse 3. The camera zooms right into the heart of the city, the main gates. Now, you gotta remember, this place was everything back then. Courthouse, business hub, social spot, all in one. And right there, at the entrance where every single person has to pass, there's Wisdom, her voice just echoing. You literally cannot get into the city without hearing what she has to say. She is completely unavoidable.
So who's her audience? Verse 4. Picture her looking out over this massive crowd, and she's making eye contact with every single person. She says, "To you, O men, I call." It's like a spotlight is beaming from her, just sweeping across everyone, from the wealthiest merchant to the poorest guy on the street. Her message is for everybody. Now for verse 5, the camera pushes in close. The spotlight kind of settles on a few people. She calls out to the simple ones. Picture someone who's a bit naive, easily fooled. Then she calls to the fools. Picture someone who's just stubbornly making one bad choice after another. And what she's offering is a direct upgrade. Imagine her handing them a brand new heart, one that just glows with understanding. She's basically saying, hey, I can fix this. No one is a lost cause.
Okay, so she has everybody's attention. The whole city is listening. And now, Wisdom is about to lay out her resume. This isn't just about what she says. It's about who she is. It's about her non-negotiable values and the real source of her power.
Let's take a look at her mission statement. Verse 7. For this verse, imagine two streams flowing from her mouth. One is crystal clear water. That's truth. The other is this thick, black, sludgy oil. That's wickedness. She says, my mouth will speak truth. Wickedness is an abomination to my lips. That sludge, she finds it physically repulsive. Okay, verse 8. Now look closer at that stream of pure water. She says, all the words of my mouth are with righteousness. Imagine every single drop of that water is perfectly formed, No weird twists or turns, no tricks, no hidden agendas. It's just pure, straight, and clean. And then in verse 9, a man from the crowd who's genuinely looking for answers steps forward. He cups his hands in that clear stream, he drinks, and bam, a light bulb just appears over his head. Her words are all plain to him who understands. They aren't actually complicated if you're really looking for the truth.
So what's all this worth anyway? Verse 10. Picture a giant set of scales. On one side, someone is stacking up a mountain of silver bars. On the other side, Wisdom places a single simple scroll of her teaching, and she says, receive my instruction and not silver. The scale just slams down on the side with her scroll. It's not even a contest. All right, verse 11. Now they swap out the silver for glittering gold and priceless rubies. Wisdom doesn't even blink. For this verse, she just says, for wisdom is better than rubies. And imagine this, all those jewels on one side of the scale, they just turn to dust. And her scroll on the other side starts glowing with this incredible inner light. Nothing you could ever want even comes close. You can tell a lot about a person by who they hang out with and who they avoid. Verse 12. First, let's meet her allies. Picture Wisdom walking through a beautiful, peaceful garden. On her right, there's Prudence, a woman carrying a lantern, carefully lighting the path ahead. On her left is Discretion, a woman holding a key, thoughtfully figuring out which doors to open. Wisdom says, I, Wisdom, dwell with Prudence. These guys are her constant companions. But then, verse 13, the scene completely changes. She's standing at the edge of a cliff, and she turns her back on this group of shady characters. You've got pride, a guy with a puffed-up chest. There's arrogance, sneering at everyone. There's the evil way, which is just a dark, twisted path, and the perverse mouth, speaking total nonsense. She makes it clear, the fear of the Lord is to hate evil. She wants absolutely nothing to do with them.
Okay, now we're about to see the true scale of her power. Verse 14. Just picture wisdom standing there, and from her, three things are radiating out. A scroll labeled counsel, a glowing brain that represents sound wisdom and understanding, and these powerful muscular arms for strength. She's the source of all of it. And because of that, verse 15, the scene shifts to a throne room. A king is sitting on his throne, and you can see this ghostly image of wisdom whispering in his ear as he makes a just and fair ruling. He says, "By me kings reign." Then in verse 16, the camera pulls back to show all these other rulers, nobles, and judges, all busy at their work. And behind every single one of them is that same transparent image of wisdom guiding their hands as they write laws and make judgments. By me princes rule, and nobles, all the judges of the earth. She's the invisible bedrock of all real justice. But for all this cosmic power, she makes it incredibly personal. Verse 17, picture a path. And at the end of that path is wisdom, with her arms open wide. She says, "I love those who love me." Then we see someone at the very start of the path, searching for her with a lantern. She adds, "And those who seek me diligently will find me." That is a rock-solid promise. If you look, you will find her. Now, for verse 20, we get to see the path that she walks on. Imagine a road paved with stones of righteousness and bordered by walls of justice. This is her path, and she never strays from it. And what's at the end of this road? Verse 21, treasure chests. She leads the people who love her right to them, saying she'll cause them to inherit real wealth and fill their treasuries. So this isn't just some spiritual idea. It has real, tangible rewards. And just when you think you know her, this story takes this absolutely breathtaking turn. We're leaving the city, we're leaving the courtroom. Wisdom is about to hit rewind and take us on this wild, cosmic flashback, all the way to the very beginning of everything to show us where she came from, before time itself. So here we are, in a place before time even exists. Verse 22. For this verse, just picture God standing in this vast, empty space, and right there, at his side, from the absolute very beginning, is wisdom. The text says, "The Lord possessed me at the beginning of his way, before his works of old." She was the first. Then, in verse 23, the camera pulls back even further into the state of everlasting, a time before the idea of a beginning even made sense. Wisdom says, "I have been established from everlasting, before there was ever an earth." We're in a timeless, formless reality, and wisdom is already ancient. Let's roll the pre-creation footage. Verse 24. Picture this vast, dark, empty space. There are no depths, no oceans. There are no fountains abounding with water. It's totally dry, totally empty. And wisdom says, "I was brought forth." She was there. All right, verse 25. In this same empty space, there are no mountains. The universe is perfectly flat, not a single landmark. Before the mountains were settled, I was brought forth. Wisdom was there. And now for verse 26, we zoom way in to a microscopic level. There is no earth, no fields, not even one single speck of dust. He had not yet made the earth or the primal dust of the world. Before the very first atom of our world came to be, wisdom was already there. Okay, now creation starts, and wisdom has the best seat in the house. Verse 27. We see God stretch out the heavens like a massive dark blue canopy, sprinkling it with stars. And wisdom says, "When he prepared the heavens, I was there." She's watching the whole thing. Verse 28. Next, picture God setting up the clouds above, like these huge reservoirs of water. And at the exact same time, he's strengthening the fountains of the deep below. Wisdom is there for all of it. And now, for verse 29, we get a truly awesome moment. Imagine God walking to the edge of this raging, chaotic ocean and just drawing a line in the sand. He commands the sea, this far and no farther, and the waves just stop. Then he starts marking out the foundations of the earth. Wisdom saw every single second of it. So what exactly was she doing during all this? Verse 30 gives us this incredible answer. Picture God as the architect, and right there beside him is wisdom, as the master craftsman, holding the blueprints, using the tools. She wasn't just watching, she was an active, joyful partner in the whole project.
She was his daily delight. So, verse 31, creation is done. We see wisdom looking down at this beautiful, finished world, full of life. But her joy is now laser-focused on one thing in particular. She's rejoicing in his inhabited world, and her ultimate delight was with the sons of men. You know, it wasn't the mountains or the seas that brought her the most joy. It was us. Wow. After that unbelievable trip through time and space, wisdom brings us right back to the here and now. She's made her case, right? She's shown us her resume. And now comes the final act, a direct personal appeal to you and to me. So here it is, her 3-step guide to a truly blessed life. Verse 32. Step 1. Picture someone just stopping everything they're doing and turning their ear to listen to wisdom. She says, "Now therefore listen to me, my children." That's it. Step 1 is just stop and listen. Verse 33. Step 2. That person is now holding her words of instruction. She says, "Hear instruction and be wise, and do not disdain it." Imagine them holding that scroll not like it's a boring manual, but like it's a precious treasure they're actually engaging with it. And verse 34, step 3, is all about persistence. We see the person now sitting right at wisdom's gates, not just for a minute, but day after day, just eagerly waiting for her to open the door. Blessed is the man who listens to me, watching daily at my gates. It's a daily thing, a commitment.
So where does that 3-step path lead? Verse 35. Picture the person who waited at the gates now walking through them into this beautiful, sunlit garden. That garden is life, and wisdom is right there to greet them. The verse says it all. For whoever finds me finds life and obtains favor from the Lord. It's not about finding a bunch of facts. It's about finding the very source of life itself.
But of course, there is another path. Verse 36. For this final, chilling verse, picture someone deliberately turning their back on wisdom and walking away from that garden gate. The text says, "But he who sins against me wrongs his own soul." Imagine, as they walk away, they're literally hurting themselves. And the final line is a choice. All those who hate me love death. The camera just follows them as they walk toward this dark, desolate landscape. And they didn't end up there by accident. They chose it. So, there it is. The whole chapter, from the city gates to the dawn of creation, it all boils down to this one, single, profound choice. We've heard wisdom's call. We've seen her flawless character. We've stood beside her before time even began. And now, she stands before us, right at the crossroads of our own lives, and she's presenting 2 paths. One leads to life. The other leads to death. Wisdom is calling. Which path are you going to choose?